This call is being recorded.
Hello.
Hello, this is Arif.
Hi, Arif. This is Sunara from Career Tuners, and we have a call scheduled for today.
Yes, that's true. That's correct.
Okay, great. How are you?
Very good. I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, that sounds great. And so, how's everything else going at your end?
Uh, so far, so good. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've not updated my resume for almost 10 years. I was basically
Yeah,
editing the material, and I thought this is the time now that I go ahead and
exactly.
update the format, have it reviewed by, experienced person, and I think that's what triggered me to, uh, you know, uh, send an email to Fatima.
Yeah. Okay, great. And that's why we are here to help you out with this process. And
Very
so,
good.
first of all, thank you so much for taking some time out and filling the questionnaire as much as you could. And that really helped me in getting more of an insight into what your day to day duties entail in your current role as the controls engineer. And based on that information, I do have prepared some counter questions. And
Uh-huh.
that other document is also really helpful because I think your resume as is doesn't really speak about your role in much detail, like what do you do actually, and what sort of
Yeah.
systems you deal with. But
Yeah.
the questionnaire that you filled and that other document were really helpful. And
Right.
so, yeah, so shall we begin our discussion then?
Sure.
Okay, great. And so when I ask about, your daily responsibilities, so you have mentioned to keep all the automated production and test machines running optimally by providing control engineering leadership. So what does this control engineering leadership entail? Like, do you have any systems in place through which you are monitoring everything and, assessing the performance, or how the machines are running and how everything is going.
So basically, I mostly work for a smaller company, or
Mm-hmm.
Delphi was one of the big name companies, but
Mm-hmm.
the department I'm working for is a small department. So I'm the
Okay.
only guy who was there with that expertise. So
Oh.
whenever there is, uh, the machine is showing an error, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or it is down, it's not doing what that primary purpose of that machine is.
Mm-hmm.
So they call me and I've diagnosed. Uh, as far as
Okay.
the tool is concerned, yes, there are some tools that is used by electrical engineers, like
Mm-hmm.
oscilloscope, digital
Yeah.
multimeter, and it
Mm-hmm.
may be other diagnostic devices. It all depends on
Mm-hmm.
the project in hand. But
Mm-hmm.
we go in, analyze what the issue is. Then I provide
Okay.
recommendation to the maintenance guy, or if the maintenance guy is not available, I go ahead and take care of it myself. Those
Mm-hmm.
kind of things.
Okay. And so, like you were telling me that you are the only one who is and considered basically a subject matter expert in controls engineering. So, can we say that you were brought on board by the company just for this particular role? Like, was it created for you, the controls engineer role, or was someone already handling this role, or this was handed over to you?
For this particular company, the last, or the current employer, yes, this role was
Mm-hmm.
created. As the department grew,
Okay.
they realized we need some in-house resources. So that is
Mm-hmm.
true. But companies before that, they had the role in one way or other, and
Yeah.
they needed because either the previous guy left or they had more, they needed more help for that shift or
Yeah.
for that particular
Or
section.
probably help from third party companies, which is more costly as compared to hiring someone in house.
Uh, you can say that for this present employer. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so previous employers, I was my role as a software developer was
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit more involved. So yes, you
Okay.
can say that. I guess they could have hired a third party guys, but
Yeah.
yeah, having an in-house person was cost effective.
Okay. Okay. Great. But didn't you develop or try to have your own team here? Like, did you even recommend them that there should be a dedicated team to help you out with this process? Like, are you seeking any help?
We eventually hired a junior guy. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of junior guy. One is more like an intern, and I have
Mm-hmm.
another full-time guy who reports to me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yes, we have increased our team size now.
Okay, okay, that sounds great. And so, what is the designation of that other person who reports to you?
Yeah, the for last year and a half, I'm the lead controls engineer, and he's a controls engineer. So yeah,
Okay,
that's
perfect.
probably
Mhm.
yeah. I'm the lead controls engineer.
Okay, great. And then you have mentioned that you identify issues with test instruments, ABPLC code, BFD motor drives, and
Yeah.
mitigate the issue by taking appropriate measures. So, how do you identify these issues? Like, is there any regular check and balance process in place that you have to use on a regular basis?
So basically, our test softwares will report the error. There will
Mm-hmm.
be so many errors, and they will report
Mm-hmm.
the errors, and we interpret the errors to, to tell the operator that this or the maintenance guy, this is what the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically, uh, it's a, I shouldn't say tribal knowledge, but this is basically, a gained experience. So we know,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are other software tools. Sometimes we have to connect that software to the machine and actually
Okay.
figure out, or go in more depth, like why
Mm-hmm.
we're getting this error. And so there are methods to it, and we have to follow the method. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, like for example, the AV PLC, Allen Bradley PLC,
Mm-hmm.
in industry is it's short form is AV, Allen Bradley. So those PLCs or any of those smart devices, they will have some kind of software link. We'll connect the software and figure out what could be
Mm-hmm.
wrong in more detail.
Okay. And so, what sort of issues are these usually?
These are basically, the machines, they fail. Some components
Mm-hmm.
and some assemblies is going to fail,
Mm-hmm.
once a week. Or so these are uh, uh, regular issues that are either, they pop up due to the part we are testing or,
Mm-hmm.
the age of the machine, for example. The asset we are
Mm-hmm.
using to test it, it could be the issue,
Okay.
or the part we are testing is, it's one of those things.
Okay. And so, is it? It must be also your duty to inform the management that if a certain machine has aged and it needs to be replaced.
Uh, not directly, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it becomes, yeah, in the, yeah.
Okay.
indirectly it becomes part of the reporting process. But of course,
Okay.
every time you're trying to save money for the company. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the first strategy is how to minimize cost on a new machine. How can we upgrade the existing one?
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. And so, since you are the main expert here in controls engineering, so have you prepared some standard operating procedures over the time to, help others know that which are the processes that could be used to resolve these issues, like some regular issues that take place?
Yes. So on the line, we
Mm-hmm.
create a template, okay, and that same
Mm-hmm.
template is modified
Okay.
based on the process for other machines. So yes, we have created a template, or sometimes we find a template by other plans, Delphi's other
Mm-hmm.
plans, and then we see, okay, how can we modify it to accommodate our
Uh-huh.
need. So yes, some documentation work is always there with any process,
Mm-hmm.
or
Okay, great.
there is a small team that works with safety. So
Mm-hmm.
they will be making the documents, and my responsibility would be to review it and approve it.
Mm-hmm.
If we think there, for example, regular maintenance plan. So
Mm-hmm.
we will recommend those kind of activities.
Okay, okay, perfect. And then you also validate new custom instruments designed for test purposes. Okay.
So yes, when
And
we get
so,
new
yeah,
orders,
so, mhm, yeah.
mhm. Then when we get new orders, uh, you know, so there are many aspects of that order. Is what let's say one is how we're gonna clean it. So there are other guys with that
Mm-hmm.
specialty. How they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
package it when it's ready to go. So there is other people who do that. And when it's
Mm-hmm.
time to see how we're gonna test it, so that's my domain. So they will,
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of that. I guess the part of that process where they depend on my
Mm-hmm.
input to, you know, understand what testing will be needed, what resources will be needed, what will be the time for the cycle, test cycle,
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things.
Okay, great. And this is really an interesting one that architect and validate new test software to improve the first time pass rate. So, yeah, so how have you been able to achieve this, like improvement with this first time pass rate? Like, how did you enable it?
Yeah. So again, we quantify a first time pass rate, and then we associate
Mm-hmm.
issues with what was causing low first time pass rate (FTPR). Why it was FTPR? So we have, and I have to defend that on my line. Why FTPR
Mm-hmm.
is so low? Because we didn't have enough operators, or the parts we were getting, the input to our line
Mm-hmm.
was of lower quality than we expect. If there
Mm-hmm.
is a system issue, then of course I have to answer it. But why my line was down, or my software was not able to perform, so that's when I have to make sure my software architecture is efficient enough to handle that kind
Mm-hmm.
of testing. So that's the part where I have to make sure my software is, uh, up to the uh, demand it needs to, up to the quality it needs to be running at.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's why when we are developing new